Namaste everyone. I hope wherever you're in this world, you're doing well, taking care of yourself, of the nature, people around you, and following your dharma. So today we're going to discuss a herb which is known as haldi in Indian household. Turmeric is its English name. Curcumin is the main alkaloid this herb has. It's a widely researched herb. I was watching a data on the United States PubMed, and there have been 8,300 clinical trials on animals as well as on humans that have been conducted on turmeric. So you can guess how much useful and how much valuable this herb is. Modern medicines see it as a highly anti-inflammatory, which is useful for arthritic condition and also conditions like fibromyalgia and many other inflammatory conditions. Even cancer is a sort of inflammation. Also, it sees that it can control the blood sugar. It has anti-microbial property. It has a huge antioxidant dose which can kill free radicals in the body. It also supports detoxification in the body. It can even kill cancer cell. So you see, it can do almost everything. It's such a huge indications that it can treat. So in this video, I'll discuss in detail how this herb is used in Ayurveda traditionally. And what are the modern research says about those functions, those indications, those usefulness of this herb. So I'll tell you what are the general characteristics of this herb, gun dharmas, what are the vipak, what are the rasa or taste, what are the propensity, which channel it goes into, what are the its indications, in which condition it is more useful, and what are the temperature, what are the contraindication, what are the dosages in which it should be consumed, and what is the best way to consume it, and how we can reconcile the modern approach, the recent clinical studies on turmeric, with the Ayurvedic perspective. So a lot is coming, a lot of information is coming in this video, so please stay tuned. Okay, so the Latin name of this herb is Curcume longae rhizome. It's very important to understand that normally for this herb we use either the roots or the rhizome. What is rhizome? Rhizome is like the stem, main stem of the plant. Roots are, the roots. So they have, it's important to understand because they have slightly different properties, and it's sometimes often confused that whether we should give turmeric to a jaundice patient or not, because in certain videos you will see that it is advisable that in jaundice, since the color of the skin get yellow, turmeric is also yellow, so yellow will add more yellow, so it shouldn't be given to the patient who have jaundice. But in certain texts we find that it has been recommended for jaundice. It can actually help patient recovering from the jaundice. Then how you reconcile this information? The confusion here is, and it's very common, I find it even in many standard Ayurvedic texts, including the Chinese texts, the way they use this medicine, is that they confuse the rhizome, the use of rhizome, with the roots. If you see the roots of turmeric, they are actually cool in the temperature. But if you see the rhizome, the main stem of the plant, which is often used, which is used as a powder at home, it is ushan. It is slightly rukshan, laghu, and ushan. So it's slightly hot, on the hotter side. So can you say this one is cold, one is hot? So when you have to use it for jaundice, you will use the root, not the rhizome. So that is important consideration. So that will clear a lot of confusion. Now, what are the other Ayurvedic properties of this herb? Ayurveda says that it is rukshan, which means it's dry. It's laghu, which means it's light. Then it's ushan. Ushan means its temperature is slightly warmer side warm or a bit hot. And also it's kadwa and tikha. So it's acrid and bitter. That's important to know. Acrid and bitter. What acrid does, acrid disperse. Yeah, the nature of acrid is to disperse, and bitter has the downward movement. And what else is what is the channel it goes to? The two organs it is associated with are liver and spleen. Why so? Because it is among the sapdhatu of Ayurveda. There are sapdhatus, which is ras, rakt, mas, med, asthi, majja, and shukra. So these seven dhatus. Among them, it enters into rakt. It also enters into ras. It also enters into med. So three dhatus it can form, it can make. So it's such an important herb. And so since it enters into the rakt, into the blood, so it has huge, its property can be understood in that context. And since liver, in the Ayurveda, liver and spleen are the organs that are associated with the breath, with the blood, because liver store the blood, spleen produce the blood. So both organs are the main organs that this herb is associated with, and it also goes into their channels. How much dosage need to be taken? It's about 3 to 9 gram. Roots can be taken a bit more, but normally up to 9 gram. It can be consumed safely. What are the indications in which it can be used in Ayurveda? What it does is it quickens the blood according to Ayurveda. It moves the blood. It's a blood mover, and it also regulates the prana in the body. So it regulates the prana and moves the blood. And then also it unblocks any kind of stagnation or stasis, or if some channels or meridians are blocked. So it opens them up. And once something is blocked, there is pain. In Ayurveda, there is an important saying that whenever there is an obstruction, there is pain. Whenever there is no obstruction, there is no pain. So obstruction means pains, no obstruction is no pain. So since it remove the obstructions, it unblock those obstructions, so it free or stops pain. So that's important quality of this one. So this, what are the contraindications for this herb? You can guess, since it's a blood mover and it unblocks the stagnation. So it's not advisable to give it to a pregnant woman, especially in large quantity. A little bit in this, as we used in the curries is all right, but not as a herb like 3 to 9 gram. We won't give it to pregnant women. Also, if someone is blood deficient, we don't want to move the blood. Yeah, blood is already deficient. In those conditions are also it is not as advisable. So also if someone's pitta has been excessively aggravated, so in that condition also it is advisable not to take. Okay, now I'll compare Ayurvedic usage of this herb vis-a-vis the modern usage. In Ayurveda it's said that it is a kushtagna. Kushtagna means any kind of inflammation in the skin. It is very, very helpful. So if you have acne, for instance, or psoriasis, or urticaria, or any kind of skin condition, this is very, very good medicine. This is a highly used medicine in Ayurveda. Then it's Vishagna. Vishagna means detoxification. So it detoxifies the body. It cleans the body. It cleans the blood. So Ama in the blood, Ama is the is a toxic element in Ayurveda, and the waste product that has to go out of the body. So it cleans. So it's like a vish. So this is Vishagna. So eat up those vish. So it detoxify the body. Then it's Lekhan. Lekhan is another function of this herb. Lekhan means it helps in the fat loss. So if you have obesity, excessive fat in the body, cells in the body, it shrinks those fat cells and makes you leaner. And that it is also known as Kapha Nivarak. Kapha Nivarak means you have excessive phlegm in the body. Spleen, when spleen get under the damp condition, when the functional spleen slows down, then spleen produce more phlegm, and spleen produce the phlegm, but lungs store the phlegm. So normally in the phlegm accumulates in the lungs. So this herb is a cough nivark, so it remove that. Not only it makes the spleen to produce less phlegm or cut on the production of the phlegm, but also it removes the accumulated phlegm in the lungs as well. Then it's also cremigni. Cremigni means if you have any kind of worms or insects or viruses, bacteria in the body, it also cleans. So that's why it's very, very important herb. And it recently you find a lot of mentioning of this herb by various herbalists across the world in this COVID-19 era because of this virus. So cremigni means it also helps us fighting the virus, bacteria, microbes, etc. And then it is Yoshit Priya. Yoshit means it's a friend of women, of ladies, because of these beauty properties. It has been used to clean the body, to make your skin brighter and to make it more glowing. So that's why it's known as a good friend of women, of ladies as well. So now if you see those, if you compare with the modern researches that have been conducted in turmeric, so they also mention that they mention very similar properties. They say that it's highly anti-inflammatory, so it's very good for rheumatic arthritis or osteoarthritis, any kind of arthritic condition, joint pains, fibromyalgia, so all kind of inflammatory conditions. This is very, very helpful. Secondly, there are also many research which says that it helps the body to control blood sugar. So it is helpful in diabetes. It's helpful if you have very, very low energy level. The another research that suggests that it has a huge antioxidants. Antioxidants are basically those friendly chemicals in our body that helps us eating up the free radicals. So there are free radicals in our body which basically cause oxidation, which damage the tissues, and they're like scavengers, so they have to be grasped and pulled out of the body. So antioxidants can eat up those free radicals. Now, so once if you have those free radicals are removed from the body, then of course the body immunity improves, body can fight back better any age related deterioration. So you won't age easily, because free radical is something that makes you age. It's surprising to know that oxygen is something that makes you alive, but it's the oxygen only that makes you dead as well, because the mitochondria in human cell has this capacity to produce energy out of oxygen, but it produces as a byproduct or a residual certain free radicals, and those free radicals roam around the body because of burning of the oxygen by mitochondria, and that they are poisonous. They poison your body, and that's caused the death and age related deterioration. So what this turmeric does is actually it eats up those free radicals. It has huge antioxidants. Then it also support detoxification. Now detoxification, of course, is in Ayurveda. I mentioned they call it ama. So if you have ama in the body, ama are toxins. They can accumulate anywhere in the body, and then they can cause disease. Also, if you say in heart patient, in their arteries, the plaque formation happens. That is also a kind of toxic or accumulation of ama. So since this detoxify them, so it's also remove the plaque in the arteries. So if someone has blockage, heart vessels, the issue of blockage in the heart arteries, then this is a very, very helpful medicine. So it supports detoxification. So it helps in removal of the plaques in the arteries. So what else? Another one is cancer. So it has been found that, especially in colon cancer, I read a study that it is very, very useful herb against the colon cancer. So if you take about 1 tablespoon of turmeric daily, which would have about 1000 mg of curcumin, then you can avoid prevent colon cancer. The chances of colon cancer are reduced by up to 90%. So which is a huge benefit. So another interesting research I read is in the context of how to use it. So what are the dosages? I already discussed. It's up to 3 to 9 gram normally is given. But very important, if you see traditionally, it is consumed with other herbs, other spices which are acrid in nature. Like pepper and other cinnamon, cloves. When you make a curry, so they all goes along. So if you take just curcumin capsule and not the whole turmeric, then you may not be digesting the whole of it. So because there have been one research which I was studying, and it has been mentioned that the amount of curcumin you ingest is almost negligible, because the amount of curcumin you're taking in a capsule is coming out of the bowel straight away. So if you consume 400 mg and 400 mg is coming out, so body is not absorbing. So curcumin in isolation may not be bioavailable. So the bioavailability of curcumin can be increased if it is consumed with the black pepper. Okay, now I want to discuss how in Ayurvedic text it has been suggested to consume it. As I told you about a research that if you consume curcumin with the black pepper, then its absorption or its bioavailability in the body will increase by 2000%, which is a huge advantage. So curcumin, if you take without a pepper, black pepper, then you may not be able to use it at all. So if you take a capsule with curcumin in it, and the entire curcumin you have consumed will come out with the bowel. But if you take with the black pepper, the research has suggested that its absorption in the body increased by 2000%. Now it's interesting to note how Ayurvedic texts suggested to consume. Now, it's very important to understand that in Ayurveda, normally the herbs are consumed holistically. So they don't remove any alkaloid like curcumin out of a herb and then consume it. They don't extract the chemicals separately. So they consume turmeric as a whole. So in turmeric, along with curcumin, there are many other oils and helpful alkaloids as well. So they all go together. But there are also some other consideration. The turmeric, the way turmeric should be consumed. I'll mention three important considerations that has been discussed in the Ayurvedic texts, especially the Bhava Prakash. Number one, the nature of turmeric is rukshan, as we discussed. It's rukshan, it's laghu, it's ushan, and it's kadva and tikha. So now, if it is rukshan means dry, so it has to be consumed with something that is nourishing and moisturizing. So ghee has been suggested to take to be consumed with the turmeric. So if you add some ghee into turmeric, so that can counterbalance the dryness of the turmeric. Secondly, it has been advised in the text that it should be heated before you consume it. So on this, if you can slightly roast it a bit before you consume it, or use heat in the forms of curry. So absorption of turmeric will be much higher if you heat it up a bit. Third is you have to combine it with certain other spices, like if you say the haldi doodh, which is very popular, turmeric milk in India, which is very popular, and it is suggested to take by every person before they sleep at the night time. What they do is they boil the milk, add some turmeric in it. So ghee, so milk has butter, so which is nourishing, which is moisturizing. So turmeric is added, so it counterbalances the dryness of the turmeric. Plus they add some cinnamon. Cinnamon is acrid and pungent, so it just spread out. And then they also add cardamom. So it's a nice recipe for turmeric milk. So add some, of course, milk with some turmeric, have some cardamom, and then add some cinnamon. It's a beautiful drink. Enjoy, try someday, you'll like it. So you can also add some black pepper to this milk formula. Milk formula have milk, cardamom, turmeric, some cinnamon, plus black pepper. So it's a very, very good way to consume turmeric in a very holistic way, following the principles of Ayurveda. So it will be bioavailable to your body, and body will absorb it very, very well. Okay, now I want to discuss one more. I want to give you a bonus of looking the whole video. I want to give you a bonus tip for cold remedies. Haldi turmeric is very, very good for the cold remedies. What you do, you take two teaspoon of honey, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of salt or ginger powder. So 2 teaspoon honey, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of salt. Any kind of cold you have, just take it 3 times a day, and it will go faster than you can imagine. Okay, now so I will conclude this video. Contraindication I already discussed. So if you have any serious liver issues, you should avoid it, because it can slow down the bile production in case the liver is already stagnant, and it can mess up your digestion if the liver has any issue. And also if you have an excessive pitta, then you should be careful. And also during pregnancy, it shouldn't be consumed too much. A little bit in the curry is always all right. Also if you have any what other consideration, also in some text, surprisingly it has been suggested that it shouldn't be consumed with clove. That's interesting observation. Frankly, I can't tell you why they say that it can't be consumed with cloves. I read in a few texts in India, plus Chinese medicine, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, also support this view that it shouldn't be consumed with clove. I'll find out why they say so, but I have no answer honestly at the moment. But it's interesting to note. With this, I will conclude this video. Thank you very much for watching till end. And please subscribe, share, and spread the love. So it will encourage me to more videos on the different herbs and bringing out different aspects of yoga and Ayurveda. Thank you very much. So stay connected with us, subscribe the channel. See you soon.